business. I'm, again, very excited about this show. Do you get the sense I'm very excited about every show? But this young lady, again, is a friend and one of my sorority sisters, and she and I have had some deep dive conversations about business ownership. We actually connected on that level and have become great friends since. And so I was like, I would be remiss if I didn't bring this young lady on to talk about how she's been able to maneuver the landmine and the challenges such as the pandemic we're in today. So without further ado, I will introduce Melanie Shinhoster from TeamShin Enterprises. Hey.
Hello. Hey, boo.
How you doing? How you doing?
Good.
Thank you so much for agreeing to be on the show. As I mentioned earlier, you and I have gone there a couple of times, being small business owners, actually in pretty much the same field, doing some different things, but in the same field. But also, you know, as I mentioned before at our sorority, one of our initiatives is the Black business, is to support Black businesses 365 days a year, how we've really been able to utilize our passion for being entrepreneurs to craft and really put some meat behind that initiative. So I'll start by asking you this. Who are you and what do you do?
Hello, world. How is everyone? So I already told Stephanie that, okay, so you know this is not going to be a typical interview because this is what we always do. It's just now you're going to see it and hear it on camera. So I am Mrs. Melanye Shinhoster, and I am the co-owner of TeamShin Enterprises. I represent a collabo of myself and my husband. We have this company that serves as the platform or the umbrella for both of our passions. Mm-hmm. So there's parts of the organization that I'm responsible for, and then there's parts of the organization that he's responsible for. Mm-hmm. So we provide services. So we look at our services as products. So one of the services that, well, now I'll just go over all of them. The ones that I'm responsible for, I have a podcast on iHeartRadio amongst all the other digital platforms called Girl What? And so that's one of my...
No, it's really a good show.
Yes, and we'll talk about that a little later. And then I also, my baby is Shin Chic Decor. So I specialize in decorating. Mm-hmm. And so we often collaborate because he is a recording artist. His name is Jonathan Shinhoster. So when there's decorating involved on set, I'm that person. And he also has a party rental business, which is called Wolo Party Rental. Okay. And so we collaborate often when clients need decorating elements of their event. And so then I have the tutoring business. Yes, mm-hmm. I am one of those entrepreneurs that is a teacher. And so I am, myself and my husband, actually, we both are a jack of all trades. And so mm-hmm. when we were dating, we were very ambitious. And that's one of the ways that we connected. And so we created this business as a way for us to pull our passions and our gifts together into one package. And at the same time, inspire other couples to think about, you know, going into business with each other and building an empire, which is what we've done. We've built an empire. And so with my passion for business, mm-hmm. decorating and education, and conglomerating all of that with his music and production expertise, and the fact that he's also a bondsman. So we kind of focus on the family unit. And at some point, we become that go-to for most families who need just about everything. If we can't offer it, we can suggest it. Because as you mentioned, we are big on supporting Black business. So
you got a lot of stuff I'm about to dig into for us there. But let me start with this. I am a production company, and you are a production as well. We attack it from different angles, but definitely one of the most difficult conversations I've had is, as a creative, what others may consider to be different types of businesses, we or actually different types of companies under one umbrella, we look at as products. And so talk a little bit about, have you incorporated all of the businesses that you're talking about, and how that process works operationally? Financially, you don't have to throw out numbers, but, does one serve the other, and those types of questions.
Okay, so TeamShin Enterprises is the overall business that is like I said, the umbrella. And so all the other businesses or products that we offer, they are DBAs. So they fall underneath TeamShin Enterprises. Okay. And so that's how that works. And I know you're going to get into this, but during this time, it really comes into play because having multiple streams of business helps to be able to shift when you need to shift during certain seasons that certain products aren't necessarily booming. So that's how that works.
Have you been excited by the idea that this creative industry has been able to so quickly adapt to this new platform? I know you and I have talked very briefly, and you even invited me to, but I didn't go, and I'm sorry I missed it. Club Quarantine, I've heard several people talk about. The experience was just like being in a club. This may completely shift how we conduct events. Have you been excited about that? And with a husband that is a musical artist, what's going through your mind as to the opportunities that are available to you?
Okay, so when we first started experiencing COVID-19, I saw it as an opportunity. I saw it as an opportunity as a business owner, you have to be able to shift. And you have to have some type of creative influence to keep the businesses running. And you have to think outside the box. So when I saw D Nice, I'll use him as an example. Even though he was simply just doing something, trying to entertain his friends, and it blew up from there. Exactly. And I started to think, my wheels started to turn as to how certain products,
an entrepreneur, by the way.
Yes, how certain products that we offer could make that shift and still, be an innovator. And he, amongst other artists and other companies, I noticed they started shifting quickly. And so we've made some shifts, and it's exciting because we're entering uncharted territory. And so it's something new, it's something different. And we've embraced
what really excites creatives more than anything.
Yes, so we've embraced it. It's been a lot of fun. It's unfortunate that we've lost lives. I don't want to
absolutely
make that a light thing.
Absolutely,
we've lost lives, and it's very unfortunate that this is a difficult time for a lot of us. And mentally, spiritually, financially. And when you're going through things like this, you have to be able to shift in business, in life, period. And so this has allowed us to think creatively and use this time to rebuild and think outside the box and just prepare ourselves for what's to come when we are back in full swing. But in the meantime, we got some great things going. My husband on the music side, he's got some virtual shows that are happening. Yeah, one tomorrow on Wednesday at 8 p.m. And then myself, I'm doing virtual consultations for decorating.
Very good.
For the party rental business, we actually are offering, we booked a lot of clients where they want virtual parties.
Very nice.
Let's see, the tutoring, same thing. I'm doing virtual tutoring lessons. So you just shift. There's no personal contact right now, but the business still continues.
But now, have you started to think about how to monetize those different shift mechanisms? And have you are you really researching and looking through ways? And how have you been able to really get to the bottom of that shift and being able to monetize it as well?
To be honest with you, monetarily, it's the same thing. So okay. I'll use the party rental business, for instance. We offer all kind of products on a regular day, bounce houses and all that stuff. So now we just have another product to offer. So right. We're offering virtual parties. Right. So we have, different fees for different things. We have a DJ. It's the same price that it normally costs. Okay. We offer hosting. We offer, you just got to change up your chart of accounts a little bit. Yeah. But the functionality is still the same. You just have different price points.
And people are absolutely accepting it.
Yes.
That's really good to know. Now, I'm getting a little nosy here. I do apologize.
No, you don't. You don't apologize. You always like getting up in me.
Yeah, honey, do I sound sorry? However, yours is one of those businesses that is a husband-wife partnership. Without getting into too much, and I ain't trying to get into pillow talk, I promise. But that could be tricky. And I'm very intrigued by maybe what are some of the things you set into place in the beginning when you started this process, and over the years, has that evolved? Are you finding it evolving now, during this pandemic? How do you stay married and stay a professional and keep the two apart when it's necessary?
I mean, I think it's with any partnership, whether you're married or a friend or a family member, it doesn't matter. You just have to set boundaries, and you won't cover everything in the beginning when you start out, but as you grow and as you continue, I mean, you're going to have some bumps in the road, but you work through them. So what has helped for us is that I stay in my lane and he stays in his lane. And then we complement each other when we need to complement each other.
Absolutely.
So, like when we did the Super Bowl event, because when we put that out there. Yes. So we look at it like it's a performance, right? Because I'm decorating, but it's still a performance. Mm-hmm. The day of the show, I have to do what I need to do, and it's a performance. So what I'm good at, he lets me stay in my lane, and he shifts into the mode of, okay, what do you need me to do?
Okay. Yeah, that's very much how Will and I work. Yeah.
And I mean, it gets tricky sometimes. Sometimes you have to put me in my place, and sometimes I have to put him in his place.
Right.
So we work through it, and then we try our best to keep it separate. We try our best to keep the personal separate from the business.
Right. Mm-hmm. I know initially my husband and I, we talked a little bit about this. My husband and I in the very beginning didn't work together very much. Mm-hmm. We didn't know how to do that. So, as time has gone on, we are definitely better in that realm. I think same thing. We have shown respect for what his skill set is. I'm gonna let him have his skill set. And there are definitely moments where we're looking at each other like, okay, I want to kill you. But it's working because we definitely bring to the table, I think, whatever our particular skill sets are, that, really, like, for example, right before when we were looking at lighting, that is not what I do. Willem, come on over here and tell me it worked. So I think that's worked. And it's funny you mentioned the partnership, because I was listening to a podcast once with the owners of Soul Cycle, and they actually had to go to get therapy. Because their partnership had gotten to a point where they were crossing lines, they were getting on each other's nerves, and they really had to have some coming to Jesus for them to be able to really build that business. So
I think you have to learn how to complement.
Mm-hmm, absolutely.
How to complement each other.
Right.
And pay attention.
Have the same vision.
Exactly. And the point of our business was that, like, we didn't want to we didn't want to come together in a business where everything is together, because we have our own passions and our own desires. So what's unique about our business is that he's allowed to pursue his passions, and I'm allowed to pursue mine. And then whenever I need him, I don't move unless he asks me.
Exactly. Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about emergency plans, pivot plans. I've got to bring up some conversations we had. We've talked about at the beginning of each year, before any of this happened, that I believe both of us were talking about pivot plans just because we wanted to do some things a little differently this year. And now we've been forced to do things a little differently. So before this, did you have an emergency plan, or it was really just kind of trying to figure it out and filter it out along the way? And as you move forward, are you going to look at ways to implement some semblance of emergency plan going forward?
Like I said, I've always been a strong believer, personally and now, professionally, that multi streams of income and having multiple products or multiple things that your business offers, it helps a lot.
Right.
Because you're able to shift.
And keep money coming.
Exactly. You're able to shift, and you're able to, when one part of the business or one product isn't necessarily selling, then you focus on the ones that will.
Absolutely.
And so that's what's worked.
Okay.
And that's kind of how the dynamic has always been, to be honest with you. Throughout the year, there's periods when the tutoring is booming, and there's periods when my husband has more shows. There's periods when my decorating is booming. So we kind of always functioned that way.
Okay.
And you just have to. I know some people, they focus on one product, and I highly suggest that you start to think about multiple things to add to your business model, to where you can kind of juggle different streams of income
at the time that you need it.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about the Girl Cave. I've been in the Girl Cave. It's a fun place to be.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
It has, you talk a little bit about, you have a show called Girl What? I have had the good fortune of being in the Girl Cave a couple of times now, and talking about a vast array of information. If you can, share with us a little bit about, as a matter of fact, I think some of what I'm doing today actually might have been slightly sparked by, being in the Girl Cave. So talk a little bit about how that started, and will it continue, and so on and so forth, and will I get to come to the Girl Cave again?
Okay, so I was one of those people that was very vocal on social media, and what I found was sometimes when you're vocal in words, people may misinterpret your message because they cannot see you or hear your voice,
right,
and understand your passion. So just like with text messaging, sometimes text messages get misconstrued because you cannot hear the person's voice and what's behind it. So being that I'm one of those people, God gifted me with many talents, and I have many passions, and so I like to talk to my friends, and I like to talk about stuff that I'm thinking. So I saw this as an outlet to basically make an excuse to get together with my busy boss friends where we never have time. So we have a Sunday set aside where we do absolutely nothing but sit down and drink either tea or wine of the day.
Right.
And we talk about everything from entertainment to politics, community antics, to
finances, family
life. It's just like if you were going out with your girls for dinner and y'all have these conversations. Like I said when I first came on, okay, so Steph, we're recording and going live in our normal conversations that we have all the time.
Right.
So, and what happened was I ended up meeting some really cool people.
Good. Yeah.
It ended up being, well, at the time when I started the show, there really wasn't much women empowerment happening. And since then, it's become more women empowerment.
Absolutely.
Exactly. I felt like there was some sense of division with women, with Black women especially. And then in South Florida, I felt like there wasn't any small businesses being highlighted, any positive aspects of South Florida being highlighted. And there's a lot of good stuff happening.
Absolutely. That was
my train of thought when I started the podcast, and it's just grown to I have about 3,000 subscribers. Awesome. And it's fun, and I get to talk to people when I tell you, it's all about networking. And because I'm slightly an introvert, believe it or not, I know a lot of people don't believe that, but I am.
Look, that's another conversation that I tell others.
I know a lot of people don't believe it, but I really am an introvert. And I don't mind networking now. I've gotten out of my comfort zone a little bit, but it was a way for me to bring people to me and have an instant networking and instant connection with people outside of just passing a business card. Right. So I made some friends. Right. I made some business connections. And aside from that, I get to spend time with my friends.
I think it's interesting you mentioned that, just because I was thinking about the other day. I think even though, we've had these conversations, and many of the people that have been on the show, we've had a lot of conversations about entrepreneurship. And we talk all the time about we're working in a silo. We're in a very competitive space. So people don't want to sometimes share their trade secrets, things of that nature. But it's been really fun to do this, to learn some stuff. And I hope other people are learning stuff, because the conversations that I've been having all along, now people have exposure to as well. And so that's what I'm excited about the show is, it's my own little personal education. And hopefully others appreciate it as well. Let's see. We are talking about, future. So we talked about events. I think this pandemic has thrown events on its ear. It's going to be very exciting to see how that happens. But what do you think is going to happen with this event space? Is it going to really explode and open up just a wealth of opportunities that we had not thought about before, and really generate money in those realms? Or how do you think that's happening? Are you hearing anything in the industry as to how that's moving forward?
I think it's rounded us out even more. Like, even when we go back to what we're used to, now personally, I'm able to see that, for instance, our next show on May 10th, not only am I going to have my girlfriends locally on the show, but I'm able to bring some of my entrepreneur friends and sorority sisters and, family members and everybody from around the world on the show.
Right.
So I think even though we can't talk, we can't touch one another, and share the same space physically, per se, now we're able to do business B2B, face to face,
absolutely,
everywhere,
absolutely,
in the United States of America and beyond.
Absolutely. And so
added another layer to our businesses.
The idea that you can sit here, we're in Miami, I'm in Miami, she's in Miramar, but to be able to sit here and think that this can reach so many areas, so many places and spaces is very exciting, especially in the world of events. And in terms of also cost, budgets sometimes for events can get really high. Yeah. And so what does that look like, being able to do some of these wonderful things at little to no cost? That don't mean we don't want to get paid, though. Let's just say that.
I think people still are going to need to pay for the creativity.
Yes.
And the technologically savvy. There are a lot of people who are not,
Absolutely. Yes.
They really are having a hard time with this shift.
Yeah.
So I think this happening will reiterate the importance of, getting your game up when it comes to technology, because it's here to stay. And now it's in a whole different lane that we're not used to. So
exactly. And staying nimble and open to new ideas and new concepts.
Yes.
That really could make a big deal. I know Melanie has always been sort of our social media guru. Generally, when she puts things on social media, the audience grows. So has that been your primary way of promoting your business and marketing, or has it been word of mouth, just being present and in the right place, right time? Where have you been able to really invest in that marketing and find a really big return on your investment?
I think it's a balance. I think you have to do all of the above. I think you have to do all that you mentioned. Social media is a science.
Absolutely.
It really is. But it's not the be all. You still have to have some type of personal connection. And you still have to be present.
Right.
And
I agree.
I will say this. I've tried really hard not to make decisions that I just jump on any and everything. You have to be strategic about what makes sense for your brand.
Really, absolutely.
And I think every image that comes your way is not necessarily for you.
Absolutely.
And to reiterate what TeamShin Enterprises stands for, it's about empowering passion, purpose, and people. And I'm just gonna, put it out there. I'm really big on pursuing your God-given purpose. And when you pursue your God-given purpose, you're always in your lane, because God made us uniquely different. So as you mentioned, you kind of created this show, and you experienced Girl What, and it kind of encouraged you or inspired you. But Stephanie is Stephanie. Yeah. Your show is
my show.
Your own unique way of doing it. And so I think people just need to focus in on your specific God-given purpose and gift, and God will make a lane for you, your own way. So don't feel overwhelmed that you got to move the way everybody else moves. Right. Find your movement, and God will make a way for the rest.
That's true. Yeah. Have you applied for any of the loans or grants or resources that are out there?
Yes, we did.
How's it going?
We'll see.
I know. We'll see. I'll let you know. We're back at the second wave.
We're gonna keep
all I can say is the application is in. Let's see what happens.
I mean, all we can do is put it in.
Now, but are you trying to do some of the others like Shea Moisture and Spanx and Verizon? Verizon has one with List. I highly recommend.
Send me everything you know.
Because I highly recommend it. Hey, at this point, what could it hurt?
Send it my way.
And then it's funny, the other day, Essence, I don't know if you saw it, Essence had an online pitch of their grant process. So of course I couldn't apply for the grant, but you could watch the pitches. And that was very interesting. I didn't watch, it was from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. But I didn't watch all of them, but I would kind of tune in and out. And it was really interesting to hear, you could kind of tell the people that had a better handle on their business, who had all the right numbers, had all the right ideas as to what growth looks like. I was very confused as to apparently it was $100,000 grant. There was one young lady that only asked for 20. I'm like, why would you do that? You got $100,000 to work with. So it was interesting. So I say that to say I encourage also those of you who are aware of those types of opportunities, please check it out, because it's definitely going to be a wealth of information for you. And now is a really good time for that.
Oh yeah.
So let's see. Are there any other questions? I don't want to miss anything. So I got my big old book here with all my questions. I don't know if you can. I was ready. I was prepared.
Did the audience have any questions? I don't know if they had any questions.
Actually, you know what? I'm gonna be honest with you. I can't see it because I don't know how to work the system.
Well, we'll see after.
But at some point, I am going to get there. Let's see. Because you know, really good time.
I'm changing up the flow. I already told her.
You know, we got some comments.
Are you sure you want me to go on the show?
Love you. Let's see what they're saying. So we got Cheryl Robbins Roden, who said hello, Sarahs. Alicia Robinson, I'm loving it. Tracy Cabanis, yes, you do. And then Alicia Robinson said covenant. So thank y'all for reaching out. We hope you'll share this with everyone else because, of course, as I've always known, and I hope everybody figured out today, she is a wealth of information, and I call her a mogul in the making. I want to be like her when I grow up. So before we leave, I really want to ask you, how can we find you? How can I know how to find you, but how can others find you to make sure? And could I also say, shameless plug, I've actually seen her at work. Her work is amazing. She's done a lot of designs for the sorority at several of our events, and it's so sad, but we actually have started to call on her like, Melanie, we need some stuff to make the table look pretty. So it will be well worth the call. Shameless plug. Now go ahead. Tell us how to get in touch with you.
All right. So the best way to get in touch with
I'm sorry.
That's okay. To be able to capture all of our products. And as you mentioned, Shin Decor is my baby. And I have two products, actually. I do events and I also decorate homes.
Okay.
So the best way to get in touch with us would be to follow us on Instagram and Facebook at TEAM Shin Enterprises. And that way you can kind of see everything. And we have pages for all the products, but the best way to see everything would be to go there.
Okay. And just the origin of the name Team Shin?
Well, where it came from.
Yeah.
My husband and I are a team, I like to think. And then our last name is Shinhoster. So a lot of people call me Mel Shin. They call my husband Jay Shin. So Shin is short for Shinhoster.
Okay. Okay. So I got to apologize. I'm not sure if I cut you off because I was trying to bother with the volume. One more time. Tell us where we can find you just in case I did something messed up.
Okay. I want everybody. And right now, when you hear my voice, go ahead and follow TEAMSHIN Enterprises on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And there is where you will be able to find all of our products because we have quite a bit. So services are our product.
Okay. Thank you so much. And, I'll call you right after this.
Oh, be on Girl What? May 10th.
Yes.
7:30.
I get to be on there.
Yes, www.spreaker, SPREAKER.com/user /girl what. That's GURL what. And Stephanie, 7:30.
And what are we talking about? Can you share that?
We are talking about, everybody else is talking about COVID-19. We're talking about Rona. We're talking about how Rona has affected us personally, spiritually, financially, and all of the above.
All the above.
To the Girl Talk Rona.
So we want y'all to chime in. We will be there. And if you think the two of us are out of control, the ladies that I know that will be on the show, it will be
yes, it's gonna be a bunch of bosses with a lot to say.
And talking at the top of their lungs, making a whole lot of sense and drinking wine.
But I manage it all.
Exactly. Well, thank you again for taking time with us. And I'm sure our audience has learned a lot from you. I know I always have. And I will be calling you right after, I'm sure. But thank you again.
Thank you, Steph, for the opportunity.
You're welcome.
This show, because it's going places. Get ready.
Thank you. Thank you. Thanks so much. You have a great day.
You too. Bye.
So thank you, everyone, for joining us today. That was a fun conversation. I've got to say I love this show because it gets me a chance to talk to my friends and people who can teach me things. So that's wonderful. We'd like to ask you to tune in again tomorrow at 10 a.m. this time. So it's been fun to kind of see where things are with the 10 a.m. and the 4 p.m. So we'll keep you posted. But tomorrow we'll be meeting with Chevis Davis, who is an artist, and he has started a company called Paint with Faith. And we're going to learn a little bit about how he was actually already in pivot mode and how that's serving him today in this special time. So we'll see you tomorrow at 10 a.m. we hope. And thanks again. Join us tomorrow.